He had all his weapons confiscated and had to strip naked for inspection. After confirming he posed no danger, the security guard let the man put on a skirt.
Seriously?
When the man saw the boss immediately handed him a photo. Unexpectedly, the man didn't even look at it and simply folded it into a paper crane. It turned out the man was an assassin. Even without weapons, he could easily kill someone, and he showed no signs of weakness at all. This job was easy to handle, but the man's next target was a top-level assassin from the U.S. intelligence agency. Frank was shopping with his girlfriend when he ran into his old friend, Marvin. Marvin warned Frank that someone was trying to kill them, but Frank didn't believe him at all, and even mocked Marvin for having paranoid delusions. Marvin had no choice but to leave angrily. However, not far away, his car exploded. Frank finally believed that someone really wanted to kill them, but at his friend's funeral, Frank showed no sadness at all because Marvin had always had a habit of faking death. Taking advantage of the distraction, Frank jabbed a large pin into his hand.
Really?
Seeing that his friend didn't react, Frank was sure Marvin was dead. To be safe, Frank decided to leave with his girlfriend Sarah. But just as they stepped out of the church, a group of agents blocked their path. To protect his girlfriend, Frank had no choice but to go with them. Their demand was simple: just reveal the Nightshade Project, and Frank would be set free immediately. But he had never heard of it. At that moment, agents from the intelligence agency arrived, also seeking the Nightshade Project, threatening Frank with his girlfriend's life. Frank didn't waste words and smashed a table with his head, then grabbed a stick and fought them fiercely. Frank hid in the archive room. Outside, the agents fired relentlessly into the room. But Frank had already prepared. With his extraordinary skills, he fought the agents until they were beaten to the ground. However, there were too many of them, and Frank was soon pinned down. At the critical moment, a shot rang out. It turned out Marvin wasn't dead. He immediately helped Frank escape the police station and regroup with his girlfriend Sarah. The three drove to the suburbs to uncover the truth. Marvin had already captured a policeman, and under questioning, the officer revealed the facts. The Nightshade Project represented an advanced nuclear bomb invented by Bailey. Whoever controlled it could overturn the world order. However, not long ago, Bailey supposedly died and Nightshade disappeared. But someone online exposed that Frank and Marvin had once participated in a reincarnation operation, which was clearly a frame. To find the culprit, they began researching online information. The info was posted from France, and the scattered 9 characters in the files reminded them of someone, an intelligence dealer named Frog. A top assassin was preparing to kill Frank, but just as he arrived at the hotel, he discovered that Frank had hijacked his private plane, and the other party was smugly watching through a monitor.
Give me a gun. That really hurts.
Frank had received the news early and knew someone wanted to assassinate him, so he stole the plane in advance. The three were heading to France to find an intelligence dealer, but upon checking into the hotel, they encountered a Russian beauty who suddenly kissed Frank without warning. This enraged Sarah. Marvin explained to Sarah that this was Frank's ex-girlfriend, also a Russian agent. She came for the Nightshade Project. Frank decided to cooperate. They found Frog to capture him, but with just a glance, Frog sensed danger. He ran wildly. Frank followed closely, but Frog hopped on a motorcycle and vanished. Frank was frustrated when his ex-girlfriend Katia drove a sports car to drift, and Frank chased Frog on the street. Sarah was relentless too, chasing Frog in a classic car with Marvin, but they seemed to encounter trouble. Frog ducked into an alley, and Frank's sports car couldn't enter, so he had to turn back. But Sarah refused to give up, rushing in with the classic car, only to be stuck by a wall. Frog looked back and flipped them off, but just as he was about to leave, under pressure and persuasion, Frog decisively handed over a key. Opening the box revealed the complete Nightshade Project. Frank celebrated the mission victory with Katia, but under praise, he gradually lost himself. Beautiful Sarah drank a glass of red wine and collapsed on the table. It turned out Katia had drugged her wine to steal the Nightshade Project. Sarah furiously hit Frank, jealous of the situation, unaware that Marvin had already swapped the keys. The real key was still with him. When Frank woke up, he and Marvin rushed to the bank to retrieve the Nightshade Project. Suddenly, they came under machine gun fire from a top assassin. After violent explosions and shouting, the shooting finally stopped. The assassin pulled out a handgun and approached, thinking Frank was dead, only to find they had escaped through the sewer. Frank reached the bank, opened the safe, and retrieved the Nightshade Project. According to the documents, Bailey, who developed Nightshade, hadn't died, but had been imprisoned by military intelligence. They immediately set out to investigate. Upon arrival, they encountered a female assassin, Victoria, sent to kill Frank, but she was an old friend and decided to side with them. They infiltrated military intelligence, found the imprisoned Bailey, and rescued him to locate Nightshade. After searching extensively, Bailey remembered Nightshade was in the Kremlin. They found a convenience store, tied up all the staff, and used the tunnel leading to military intelligence to reach the bomb. They hurriedly brought the bomb back to the hotel and held an overnight party, finally free from threats. But then Frank received a call from Victoria. Bailey was the mastermind. Years ago, his wife and child died tragically, and he planned to detonate the bomb to destroy the city. When Frank realized this, Bailey already had a gun. He lined everyone up, opened the door, and his men seized the bomb in front of Frank. The nightshade bomb was powerful, undetectable without a detector, and a single bomb could destroy the city. Frank couldn't ignore the situation. Knowing Bailey was headed to London, Frank and Marvin prepared to follow him. But before leaving, Hun arrived, and old enemies immediately fought, neither willing to back down. To save time, Frank deliberately took hits, and once Han calmed down, Frank explained the situation. Learning Bailey wanted to destroy a city, Han agreed to temporarily set aside their feud, and they boarded a plane to London together. They arrived at a hotel and found Bailey's residence, but he had disappeared and activated the bomb. Time was short, so they carried the bomb to a safe location to detonate it. However, they were spotted by agents, and a fierce battle broke out. Bailey kidnapped Sarah and escaped, forcing them to split up. Frank and Marvin drove the plane with the bomb to detonate it, while Victoria went to rescue Sarah. But as soon as they started, police blocked their path. Victoria drew twin guns. Although they evaded the police, Bailey had taken Sarah to the airport, and Frank's plane was shot down. Fortunately, they were unharmed. Frank had an idea: take Nightshade to Bailey's plane. But with Sarah as a hostage, Bailey forced Frank to leave with Nightshade. As they stepped off the plane, Bailey closed the cabin door and flew away. Just as he was gloating, he heard a familiar beeping sound. He opened the cabin and found the Nightshade bomb inside. Everything had been a prank. He only took an empty box.
Didn't see that one coming.
The crisis was finally resolved. They had saved the world, and everyone rejoiced, except for one person.
I was even thinking about not killing you. This is what happens when you try to save the world. You're dead, man, Moses.